interesting
Well,
sacred partner who has returned from a journey of secret destinations to be with us this morning. And we're grateful
I
for
saw some serious floods,
her presence.
some serious rain,
And
and some serious flooding.
but we're committed to our
Something is
process here,
shifting. Yes, we are, because it's
which
really important.
is
Makes it even more important.
15 days. Remember, we started this as a countdown, kind of
Count 100 days.
100 days of intentioning
And
till
now
we get
it's
to the
2
election.
weeks from tomorrow.
Because we felt that this was such an important election, such an important time.
Right. It's such an important time, such an important election. I don't understand why it's so close, but it is, and it really means we all have to show up and be intentional and talk to everybody we know and promise to take people to the polls. People have to vote. It's really important. And in Missouri, I think you can start voting early tomorrow, 2 weeks ahead of time. So tomorrow should be the first day of early voting in Missouri, and we're going to go vote.
You're darn right, sister.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been using our man,
Luzzatto,
the Italian.
Gift. What a gift this man is. What a wonderful teacher. Just to know the context too. He was kicked out. He was kicked out of his home in Italy. He had to leave
because he was on fire with learning.
He was on fire.
A certain kind of learning that wasn't approved.
Right. It was threatening to people who didn't have vision. Who wanted to stay in control. Right. It was threatening to people who didn't know how to let go and let God, and see beyond and see into possibility. And so he had to leave his home. He went to Holland, and there he decided, I guess, he had to write this book. He wanted to teach people to be good people.
Yeah.
What's the path to being
to train
a saint?
The inner,
right? To
the
being a
world.
really good person. Because, ultimately, that's all we have control over is ourselves. Ultimately, that's
Isaiah,
what we can control.
The peace of the near. This is the peace of the near.
Right.
This is the peace of the near. The peace of the far, we have to trust.
Right. But, you've taught me that, too. If you want to help somebody that you deeply care about, the way to help them is to make sure that you are in order, right? Right? That you've done your work. Once you've done your work, then you'll see that the people and the places even around you will respond in with holiness. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
It's a wonderful principle. If you don't know what else to do to help the people around you,
work the crucible.
That's right.
Work the crucible. And that's what Luzzatto is teaching us.
And he is teaching us.
Starts with listening.
Yeah, right. Attentiveness. Really paying attention. Attentiveness.
You know who taught this?
Who?
Holmes.
Really?
Yeah.
Say more about that.
Sherlock.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes.
He was
Sherlock. He paid attention.
He was always giving lectures to the other detectives. You're not paying attention.
Right. But the thing he was able to do, too, is he saw how things were connected. He saw the interwovenness.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes did. He saw how things were connected. Nothing was ever in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And I think that's true for us, too. We have to recognize that nothing we do, there isn't anything we do that doesn't have consequences for the people around us.
And you know something? Where I had a real insight today about what we're drawing down new this time of year. Remember the teaching also, one of the other teachings we brought is that at this time of year, Rosh Hashanah, during the 10 days in between, the 10 days of transformation, during the Kippurim, the changes of Yom Kippur culminates in Sukkot. In Sukkot, it becomes articulate. What we're drawing down, what's new, what we've drawn down new, each of us in an individual sense. I felt something this year. I understood something about from my man Sforno, the Italian. We're all Italian here. Mm. The Sforno, the Italian. I understood something.
I am Italian.
So am I.
No, my DNA.
Me too.
Italian. Southern Italian. You
Oh,
too?
yeah.
Yeah. No, you're
I am too.
but I really am. My dad's 50% Southern Italian.
40% right here.
Okay.
So anyway, we're dealing with this verse that we get about Sukkot in our holy book. In the verse it says, "V'hayita ach
Ach, Sameach.
sameach." Deuteronomy 16 verses 14 and 15. You shall be
Ach,
something joyous.
ach,
The
Sameach.
something is a qualifier.
Mm.
It's a little word, ach sameach. What is that? What does it mean? Our ancestors came down on it. Most of them came down on it in a certain way. They brought it down this way. You should be entirely happy. Well, come on. Really?
Really?
Really? You're going to
What,
really?
what planet
are you paying
living in?
attention?
Right.
Are you
exactly.
attentive?
Right.
But Sforno had a really interesting comment on that. Sforno calls it unmixed. And I thought about that. What is he talking? What does he mean unmixed? And I came to understand something. And I consulted with Sforno, by the way. I came to understand that what he's talking about is there's this residue of grief and darkness throughout our celebration since the summer rituals of grief
Right.
that we don't lose that. It follows us, especially this year,
Yeah.
when our summer rituals of grief included October 7th, especially this year. So when we come to Sukkot, and Sforno says unmixed, it's like a possibility. It's like, if you can visit there, can you live there? Or if you cannot live there, can you visit there? Sforno reminding us, maybe you can visit there. Maybe it's possible to visit there.
The Ach Sameach place.
Yeah, the joyous, you can't live there. You can't. Who's going to live there?
And especially this year when Simchat Torah is
Yes.
the Hebrew date of October 7th.
I learned this out from Sforno and Yurtzi on a visit to the sculptor in Chicago.
Ach Sameach.
He said, it's also right in here, as if it is now, but has not always been. He worked it out in here from the inside out.
So here's a place to start. Ask yourself, what brings you joy?
There you
Start
go.
there.
There you
What
go.
brings you joy? That's
I wanna
an
tell you something
important
else.
thing for this moment. What?
When I was doing these shows when you were gone,
Mhm.
and I was speaking poetry and playing the oud, and I said, this time of year, this year,
Mhm.
the stories that are emerging from me
Mhm.
are different.
Yeah.
I'm telling stories about my own experience I had not told before.
Right.
Why? What is that? I'm telling the story of having learned this instrument that I'm accompanying the poetry with. Why am I telling that story now? I never talked about that story, where I went to learn this instrument, who I learned it from, and what it means every time I pick up this instrument and play the piece of my hands, quoting Isaiah, a gloss on Isaiah, who talked about the piece of the near and the far. There's also the piece of hands. That every time I pick up this instrument that plays the music of Abraham beneath the separations of his children, Isaac and Ishmael, I'm playing peacemaking through my hands. I never talked like this, never told these stories before. What are these stories? Why now? Well, I know now. Once I heard them, I know now why.
Because
but that's
they're
new
deeper
this year.
than the divisions.
Yeah, it's new this year.
What brings you joy?
Well, and that's the other thing. I heard
What
myself
brings you
saying
joy?
to some of my collaborators,
Mm.
I didn't want to do that. Why? It didn't bring me joy. They thought I was nuts.
Right. Doesn't
I
bring
could
you
feel
joy.
it. Like, what? Are you serious? I said, yes, I'm serious. If it doesn't bring me joy, I don't want to do it.
Right. Right.
Especially in the arts,
Yeah. But in
and
religion,
absolutely,
too.
in spirit reach.
So here's a memory. I remember when I first started teaching confirmation class at another synagogue, actually, and I said, "What are you going to do to atone for the things that you have done in this past year that you're not proud of. And one of the kids said, sitting through services, sitting through services. I went, oh, that makes me so sad. But I got it. I understood what they were trying to say.
Yeah. Well, we're going to change
and you know
that.
what? Nobody has time for that. If we're not bringing each other, if we're not finding places to bring joy, to bring joy, we're missing an opportunity. There's enough punishment in the world. There's enough suffering in the world.
We're going to work on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So 15 days from today, we're in the countdown. We started at 100 days. And time passes.
We're getting there.
Ready or not, here we go. So make a voting plan.
Take somebody to
Think
vote.
about all the people around you who could use a ride.
Yeah.
Go early. And
send emails to your relatives, especially in the swing states.
And have a great day.
Thanks for being